So, here's the thing. For those of you who know what they're doing, you know it, the doers can just magically snap their thumbs and voila, it's fixed. I got a voltage meter out. I got a test light out. Was the first thing that I did. Very first thing. Check to see where the power was. I took connectors off, checked everything to see, you know, if there was a positive that was backwards or a negative was backwards, if something was drawing voltage. I checked all of that for all of you who know what you're doing. And so I checked all that. And I checked all that after I cleaned the grounds 3 times and cleaned all the battery cables several times. And I didn't find anything drawing voltage other than when you turn the key on to crank it over. So I would do at that point, voltage meters and test lights are of no use. If you can't find a drainage or you can't find what's drawing the voltage other than the starter itself, and I changed the starter and it still does the same thing. So I cleaned the grounds, I fixed the grounds, I fixed broken cables, I changed the batteries, changed the starter, and the broken cable, I soldered a brass end on it. It still wouldn't start. I cleaned up the brass ends again. So I went back to after it would not start after doing all that. I was like, well, I was pretty frustrated at that point because you figured I'd have found it somewhere along the line. But I didn't. And so so I went back to the grounds, and this time I ground it down to fresh metal with the grinder. I got the grinder out, and I did notice that on the one by the batteries that there was a lot of welding flash on there, and I ground all that off. There was plus some welding flash on the bolt that stuck through where you slide the cables on, and it would not allow it to go all the way down to the chassis. It would hold it up. So really you could tighten it all you want, but the cables would never reach the chassis. So I ground all that off so the cables would go all the way to the chassis. Then I removed all the steel washers and put aluminum and brass, whatever I could find that was aluminum brass, in between there, and took out all the metal washers. And the nut was metal. There's nothing I can do about that because I don't have any aluminum nuts or brass nuts. And so tightened it up, and I did the same thing on the front. And then it wanted to start up, and it started up 2 days in a row. But today, being it's was 70 degrees, it does not want to start. And my other trucks would have started up. And so at this point, I've done everything that you could do other than replace cables. So I would say at this point, it must have bad cables. And for those of you that know what you're doing, you can make a suggestion. I'm pretty sure I've done everything that you would suggest me to do, but you can make your suggestions anyway. And a lot of you that are just looking at me and say I'm a whiny baby and a crybaby, whatever. I'm making a YouTube video. If I didn't tell you what was going on, then you would get nothing. And then that would make a real boring video for me just to sit here and stare at the camera going. So.
And besides, it's drama, and people do like drama on YouTube. Ask us how we know. People do like drama on YouTube. And there are people out there who have said, stop whining, just fix it and stop whining. But Steven's not whining, he's just expressing what's going on. My grown man doesn't whine, he fixes everything. Steven is not a perpetual complainer or whiner. He fixes everything. He's an amazing man. He's a MacGyver type of man. If y'all are ever familiar at all with the 1980s show MacGyver. I think it was 1980s. Anyway, the MacGyver show where that man utilized anything he could to fix things and do anything. Well, that's what my Steven does. He fixes everything. With whatever little he has, he MacGyvers it. So you all can stop saying in the comments that he's just a whiner and a complainer. Like he said, he's just telling it like it is about what he's done, and that's the YouTube drama and letting you know what's going on.
Some people just have to say hateful things no matter what.
Well, that's true, and we've discovered, I mean, that we've been on YouTube for 4.5 years. We have. We've been making videos for 4.5 years. And in those 4.5 years, we have discovered that there are a lot of people out there that just have to say hateful things. It's like they have to do it to feel better about themselves. They're the haters. But every YouTube channel that is successful and grows on YouTube goes through that. They have what they refer to as haters. And it's those people who are not doing anything themselves. They don't have YouTube channels.
You don't know that.
Well,
now you're stereotyping.
Well, most of them don't have their own YouTube channel, and they want to hate on other people.
But
so.
You said they were doing nothing.
Okay, maybe alright, I misspoke. I should not have said that. But most of the time, the people that are the haters are ones that do not have their own YouTube channel, and they just want to hate on those that do. Besides, like Steven says, it's all about the drama. That took an awfully long time to make that bed.
Yeah, it did. And that's a double size heavy mattress. So that didn't make it any easier.
No, but if you go through...
It's always a challenge to make a bed in a truck.
It is. It is. Making a bed in the truck is a challenge.